So over the weekend, I had a blast, an absolute blast watching OSG, the official Strongman Games. It is a strength sports competition or multiple competitions where you have men and women competing at various weight classes, the open usually being the heaviest. You have 40 plus men and women masters, you have 50 plus men and women masters. And you have teenage junior division as well, which was awesome to see. But it was a great competition overall. Amazing to see the men and women compete. I watched most of the weight classes, men and women. But there was some controversy that I didn't realize. And that controversy came from the Open Women's World's Strongest Woman competition. And that was one of the competitors, the competitor who won, who I happen to know as a fan, not personally, but I've watched them before, Jamie Booker. She beat longtime strong woman, great strong woman, Andrea Thompson. And the controversy is that she happens to be trans. She is biologically a male at birth. So, for those who don't know in strength sports, most of the athletes, in fact, pretty much all of the athletes, when you get to that top level, they are taking some form of performance-enhancing drugs. It just is what it is. I don't really think it's that big of a deal. It's not, they still have to train like crazy, eat like crazy. It's their entire lives are altered by this, their effort to be as strong as they can be and train so much and get their sleep, their diet, their nutrition, all that. But steroids and performance-enhancing drugs play a part. So if you're biologically a man and you're already in theory producing testosterone to begin with, and you're taking performance-enhancing drugs, you have a big benefit over women, biological women. Now, I respect trans women's rights, obviously. Or I guess it's not obvious to those who are watching, but I do. But at the same time, it is, at least when it comes to strength sports, I don't know about other sports, but at least when it comes to strength sports, it is unfair to have a biological male competing against a biological woman. Both are on some sort of performance-enhancing drugs to help with their recovery, help with muscle building. So, now I don't know if Jamie Booker was ever on estrogen or what the situation was, but I assume in their period of training for strongman competitions, strong woman competitions, that she would probably be on testosterone. Now, I remember first seeing Jamie Booker at America's Strongest Woman, and I was so impressed with her brute strength. She looked huge. She frankly, to be caveman about it, I guess, she looked like a woman, like a big, thick woman, a big pear-shaped woman with brute strength. And if you know anything about, women who take performance-enhancing drugs and train and are heavier, they can tend to sometimes look a little, again, caveman-ish, mannish, right? It's just how it is. You're less focused on pure femininity and you're more focused on winning your competition and doing what you're trying to do, being the strongest woman in the world. So you'll put on muscle, you'll put on weight, right? And so, point being is, I couldn't really tell that Jamie Booker was, it's not something, and it wasn't something I actively thought about. I just remember being impressed with her at America's Strongest Woman, of how her brute strength, natural brute strength, when it is a Conan's wheel, she just picked that thing up. It's basically picking up a heavy weight and you're walking around in a circle, a big Conan's wheel, and you hold it up like this and try not to drop it. She was flying, and I'm like, this woman is going. I even commented, and it's probably still on that video, this woman is going places. I was impressed. However, I did not know that they were biologically a man. And in this sport, that makes a difference. And so I can understand Andrea Thompson coming in at second place, being upset. I understand it. I would probably be upset too, because in this sport, regardless of how you feel about, trans people, and I certainly support trans rights, I do, But in this specific sport, it is an unfair advantage, to be biologically male, that big. I mean, there are women that are that. I mean, there are plenty of Rebecca Roberts, for example, is like 6'2", and she's 300 plus pounds. There are big women in this sport. But being biologically male, being that big, being on, at least TRT and some steroids, producing testosterone, it's unfair. It's just unfair. You naturally have advantages with your frame. It's just not fair. So I don't know I don't think Giants Live was aware of this. When she competed at America's Strongest Woman, I don't think they were aware. They sign up. They don't really ask too many questions. They assume that in a sport like this, which isn't gigantic, there's not a ton of money involved, they would think that people aren't really lying, or they're not, they just sort of trust them, I guess. And I guess going forward, they're not just going to be able to have to trust athletes, but some sort of proof, I guess. Because this is unfair. So I don't know what's going to happen again, but I would think maybe Andrea Thompson deserves the title. Maybe Jamie Booker should be disqualified. And again, I don't know Jamie Booker's intentions. She seemed like a genuine person. She seems like she wasn't malicious. I'm not going to just assume. I know there's a lot of people on the internet who assume, she's terrible, she's a liar, she's a cheater, arrest her, throw her in jail, or she's a freak, or all these horrible accusations. I don't know. But I hope that Giants Live amends this situation and makes it right.